to the bank.
I want to thank you for joining us. But I've got some questions. Did Elon Musk win any electoral college votes this last November? Did Elon Musk have the authority to operate a secret government that has access to our social security numbers and our Medicaid checks? That's right. No one elected Elon Musk.
Do something! Hello, everybody. We have convened here in the right place, the Treasury Department. We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you could get all of our private information.
We're here today because an unelected billionaire and his team have been given full and unfettered access to our taxpayer money and our government.
Bullshit! Bullshit! He's right.
We need to provide oversight to Elon Musk and his team. We don't know what they're doing behind these closed doors.
Nothing good!
The people deserve.
There's nothing funnier than someone being like, just dropping in to unfollow, just watched Asmongold react to a video of you. Dude, you're an Asmongold fan. Like, I don't even know why you were following me to begin with. Like, what? Okay. Like, I guess you're terrified of being outside of your echo chamber, you know? Oh no. I'm getting unfollowed by a swarm of Asmongold fans. Oh no, what am I supposed to, what will I do? Half the time people also follow because the only restriction they have in terms of talking in this community, talking in this chat, is the 10-minute follow restriction. Yeah. Wait a minute. I didn't know that you were pro-Palestinian and also a socialist. This is a bridge too far. I'm unfollowing you.
Transparency.
Every day that we show up in D.C., we show up for you. We know who we work for. We know that we work for the American people. And what we're not going to do is stand around while they pull this bullshit that they're trying to pull right now. We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution. Instead, we are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses. And we are going to make sure...
Why do you support Islamic fundamentalist groups? I don't, unless you're talking about their actions against the apartheid genocidal state of Israel. If that's what you're saying, then yeah. It's like saying, oh, do you support Easy Company in World War II? That must mean that you love segregationist, homophobic, misogynistic people. That's what America was during World War II. But I have no issues supporting America's actions during World War II. Are you against America in World War II? I'm going to be honest with you. You probably are against America in World War II. Let's be real. Why are you pro-Nazi, chatter? Why are you anti-Allied forces?
Sure, you understand what democracy looks like. This ain't it.
We don't pledge allegiance to Elon Musk. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
I am so tired of these billionaire boys and their grubby little hands grabbing at everything. Hands off our bodies, hands off our data, hands off our tax refunds, hands off our social security checks, hands off our Constitution, hands off our democracy, hands off.
Today, there was a press conference outside the Treasury Department where a lot of
I guess at least people are protesting. I don't know.
Democratic elected leaders, especially from the Oversight Committee, came out to say that they are going to be the resistance against what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are trying to do here, taking control of the Treasury payrolls. And what started as a pretty small crowd has grown to over maybe 1,000 people who are really angry at Elon Musk in particular and see an unelected
Okay,
billionaire
bro, what else should
coming
people be
in.
doing? No, I know. I that's what I'm saying. It's like it's definitely limited. And I don't know what kind of impact this will have or if it will yield any sort of tangible results. But the real motion comes from court orders for the most part.
And effectively storming the federal government at cost to federal workers and the American citizenry. They are angry about that. And for all the talk about a lack of resistance forming in the wake of Trump's inauguration, this moment really feels like an inflection point where Democrats in particular have found their footing and they've found a message about economic populism and fundamental unfairness and the system being rigged. They found that message in a way that works for them that could be a real problem for Donald Trump. What's the mood among federal workers right now?
It's really funny because I think last time it was, this is an aberration and we're going to, get through this and things will return to normal. And now it's more like, oh no, this is, this like we're in this for some kind of long haul. Who knows? Like, so it's much more, it feels very disempowering.
Are you guys getting work done? You're still working, right?
Yeah, we're working. I mean, I think, the shifts that happen very quickly are destabilizing, but, to the extent possible, we continue to do what we can.
It feels like for a while there hasn't been like an organized resistance with sort of energy and focus, and I don't know if I'm overstating the case here, but this feels like an inflection point for that.
This feels much more exciting than I think anything we've seen, because I was thinking about this the other day. We feel like we have protests and they have rallies, and this feels like a rally. I mean, I've been in government nearly 20 years. I would like it to be more efficient, but not like this.
This ruling is absolutely insane. How on earth are we supposed to stop fraud and waste of taxpayer money without looking at how money is spent? That's literally impossible. Something super shady is going to protect scammers. Dog, you literally were celebrating abolishing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau yesterday. What do you mean? Like, there is no... I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just like so obvious that these guys don't care about scams. You are the number one rube if you believe that Elon Musk actually has your best interest in mind, New York Judge Paul Engelmeyer just forbade all political appointees, including the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, from accessing Department of Treasury data, all based on blue and on conspiracy theories. Those theories couldn't be challenged because the order was ex parte, meaning Trump's lawyers weren't warned and couldn't weigh in. Only Democrat attorneys general were allowed to argue. The judge cites no law or logic to support this unprecedented order because it defies both. The judge's ruling is, in essence, that Scott Bessent simply occupies a ceremonial position without real power, like the King of England. This is a grenade thrown in the functioning of the Treasury Department. It forbids the elected government from accessing information about budget and finances. It means Scott Bessent's subordinates have far more power than Scott Bessent does. Democrat pundits who whine about the Constitution are liars and will shred it in the first chance that they get. Meanwhile, you're glazing, an administration that tried to abolish a thing that is in the Constitution, which is birthright citizenship. So I don't know what we're talking about in terms of like constitutional interpretations or shredding the Constitution. Better yet, SCOTUS should bar this judge from ever hearing similar cases again, and every Democrat lawyer involved should be sanctioned. Blue checks confused by Elon not acting in their best interest. Oh yeah, I saw these arguments. What's wrong with the CFPB? They actually got consumer wins. CFPB announces the return of $1.8 billion in illegal junk fees to 4.3 million Americans harmed in massive credit repair scheme. What is the deal with the CFPB? I'm genuinely curious at Elon Musk. As a normal guy, can you please respond and tell me? I assumed it was created for our protection. I've used the CFPB after my bank was giving me the runaround, and I had a bunch of fraud charges that they wouldn't refund me after telling me they found them as fraudulent. Within a week, I had my money back. So explain to me how this doesn't benefit us as American citizens. This one just really baffles me, and I'd love an actual explanation. Yeah, not on board with this one, unless you bring some pretty damning evidence as to why. Do consumers not need to be protected? Wow. Wow, guys, I'm beginning to feel like this billionaire, I'm beginning to feel like this billionaire doesn't have the average Joe's best interest in heart. Perhaps they will understand eventually that when Elon Musk says he's combating fraud, he's just calling whatever he doesn't like fraud. Just like when Donald Trump says they're going after violent criminal migrants, they don't actually go after violent criminal migrants. Okay, they're going after all migrants that they can get their hands on, including documented migrants that they can get their hands on. That's it. They're just simply saying that because that is marketing. Okay. The problem is a lot of people hear someone that they agree with. Okay. They hear someone that they agree with, that they think is defeating their ideological opponents, and they immediately drop all critical thinking and they just assume, oh, yeah, well, this guy's saying that he's going after violent criminals, so I'm inclined to believe him. He must actually be going after violent criminals. And the second problem is when they're met with the reality that they're not just going after violent criminals, they still just end up doubling down. How do you know that? Is there any evidence? Yes, ProPublica actually came out with a report that out of the 8,200 migrants that have been deported so far, more than 50% of them actually have no criminal background whatsoever. And there are plenty of those who have a criminal charge that is marginal, inconsequential, would not ever lead to something as massive as deportation. Okay? Like trespass, like a trespass charge or a moving violation. But I thought they were just taking out all the violent criminal rapists and serial killers that were roaming the streets because I guess in the previous administration, they just refused to prosecute that sort of thing in our court system. Like that's what you have to suspend your belief. Okay. You basically have to assume that the Biden administration, the Biden administration, was simply forcing the court's hands and law enforcement officers in general to no longer prosecute crimes as long as it was an undocumented migrant committing this. Okay? This is an insane position to operate on. And yet, it is a commonly held perspective. It's crazy. Right-wingers are purposely two-faced about this. They say violent crime. Then if you show facts, they say, well, all border crossers are criminals. They know this and they don't care. Yeah, some of them, for sure. I don't know why Kaya just hates the bed ever since I moved it. Like, she hates it more than before. Anyway, Kaya with the plausible deniability, half on, half off. Yeah. So Elon Musk says he's looking for waste and fraud, but the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau costs less than $1 billion a year and has returned $20 billion and counting to consumers in roughly a decade. Interesting. It seems like the people that are going to benefit from this are fraudsters, people who want to defraud the American public. That's who stands to gain from this decision. You know, people who are in Elon's orbit, the actual people that Elon cares about, and not the regular average Joe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not like just wanton destruction. So,
Are people fearful right now?
yeah, I think several people, we all talk, and yeah, people are worried. I mean, not physically. I think everybody's kind of aware of, like, it's not as bad for us as it is for a lot of people that have it much worse. But, yeah, the prospect of losing a job that you've worked at and you're really passionate about, you've been doing for decades, is really scary.
Yeah. Great stuff.
This is who they've decided to defend. The user called for the repeal of the Civil Rights Act. He called for a eugenic immigration policy. He said the world should normalize Indian hate. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, who is Indian American and is here tonight, like Vance's wife, is also Indian American. He asked the vice president just a simple question on X. Are you going to tell him to apologize for saying, quote, normalize Indian hate before he is rehired into the government? Just asking for the sake of both of our kids. That apparently
is a good line to think in the moment, but like honestly, I mean it's like a snide remark overall. But ultimately there is not really much else behind this other than just like hitting him with a good own.
struck a nerve.
Does Vance deserve any less? He deserves way worse statements, I think.
Vance responded telling Khanna to grow up, adding, quote, racist trolls on the internet, while offensive, don't threaten my kids. But he says a culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes does. Vance went even further in another post, accusing Khanna of emotional blackmail of the Doge staffer, adding, quote, you disgust me. Well, the congressman is here, so I want to start with you because I, for one, was flabbergasted by that exchange. How did you take it?
I was surprised that he reacted in the way he did. Look, I praised Usha Vance actually just a week and a half ago. I said, as an Indian American, I'm proud of her ascent as a second lady. And I've known Usha, I've known the vice president. And all I was saying is you have someone who's 25 years old who has made deeply offensive comments about Indian Americans, who has talked about repealing the Civil Rights Act, who has talked about his disapproval of interracial marriage. You're going to rehire him. Is he going to apologize? Is he going to have any accountability? No one is saying cancel him. But you can't just rehire him and say, okay, everything is fine, and he's going to represent the United States government.
Why not cancel him?
This is the final stage of like using cancel culture as a shield, by the way. This is the final stage. Like just saying, oh, you're doing cancel culture when it's a federal regulator, okay? When it's a federal government employee, a public servant who literally, with no qualifications, by the way, who literally tweeted out insanely racist shit 2 months ago, okay? This isn't like finding your favorite celebrities' takes from back when they were like 14, 15 years old, okay? Like everybody understands that kind of stuff is boring and annoying and no one actually cares about it, even though a lot of people engage in it still, okay? This is not that. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, I mean, as long as, yeah, well, let's hire Kanye West to a government position, you know, right now. Let's hire Kanye West to a government position right now. Let's give him access. Fuck it. It's cancel culture if you say, he didn't know what he was doing when he tweeted those things today, okay? As long as it's tomorrow, it's going to be tomorrow at a certain point, right? And when it's tomorrow, we'll just say, oh, that was yesterday. That was the old him. Give him the nuclear launch codes.
Asking, because we're living in an era where we're being told that if you talk about diversity, you should be canceled out of the government, but you can post racist posts as of a month and a half ago and welcome in.
Yeah, in a world where DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action are under attack, I feel like we're protecting white supremacists and racists and attacking Black and brown people who want to be part of the fabric of the country. And I'm curious how the vice president would explain to his Indian children why he stood up for somebody who said normalize Indian hate. Like, what would he say? And that issue may not come up today.
He also called the guy a racist troll. He acknowledged that this person who he wants back in the government is racist.
They obviously fired him in the first place, right? Why did they fire him?
Well, and I think there's two things that I see happening here. The first one is that this is the signal to his voters that we are going to let these things slide, that you can't be canceled anymore. For all of us, however, the other vast majority of Americans, we're standing by the fact that we are going to hold people accountable to that. And with all due respect, Congressman,
what do you mean?
an
What do you mean
apology
by
would
that?
not
What do you
suffice
mean
for
by
me in this particular circumstance? This is a moral character bedrock of somebody's perspective of the world. I don't care what you got on your grades at Stanford. I don't care what coding competition you won. These are not the kinds of people who should be filtering the biggest decisions in the design of this
So what,
country.
he's banished off into the desert
No,
for eternity?
you're-
Like, wreck
I'm
his
not
life,
interested
wreck
in
his
your-
career, send him off into
So you're
nobody.
okay with racism in your party?
Hold on, man. Let me finish. That is not what I said, so don't even go there. Absolutely not. I think it's important what he said. I frankly agree. If he's willing to acknowledge what he said was wrong and apologize for it, we are a compassionate people. Why can't we give
He didn't do that.
Well, we don't know that he's done that or not.
But he has access to the World Wide Web.
And you're welcome to apologize. We're very much looking forward to it.
I'm just saying. And also, the congressman asked J.D. Vance, the vice president, should this person apologize? Vance didn't say, yes, he should. He said, God, I mean, he said all kinds of terrible things about the congressman for whatever reason.
He acknowledged that the comments were sophomoric and terrible and all the stuff that he said.
And
racist.
So this is not inappropriate.
He called the guy a racist troll, and now he's like, come back to the government.
J.D. Vance would have been better served if they just disowned this in the beginning. Like, this is one of those easy things to do. It wouldn't have been much backlash against J.D. Vance and Donald Trump if Elon Musk just decided, okay, well, this guy's going. I think this is more about Elon Musk's guy than anything else, because in most other situations, they would have just said, okay, we're going to cut ties with you, which is exactly what they ended up doing. But I still think that this part of this connection to Elon Musk, where many people have Donald J. Trump as president, J.D. Vance as vice president, but then Elon Musk as a Republican member of Congress described him as Prime Minister Musk. I think putting Elon Musk on the same level of Donald J. Trump, where we excuse everything that he does, I think that that's just really problematic.
Vance is wrong in that the information that we are receiving, the slurs that we receive as black and brown people, as women online, is hurtful, right? This is not, it doesn't matter, woke culture is worse. That's not true. And this individual works in government. When I go to my government and ask them for something, for help, do I have to worry that the person on the other end of the email or phone is racist and actually hates me and has been online saying, we think you should be whatever, deported or whatever?
He should apologize.
I mean,
that's at a minimum.
It's not
Absolutely, I'm not arguing. I completely agree with that.
But again, like I do want to challenge us. This isn't an apology. Like I have a 5-year-old at home. He says he's sorry, and he does not mean it to his sister all of the time. It's just to get through the thing. I believe that the Trump administration was so eager for a moment like this to be like, see guys, don't worry, we're gonna save you. We're gonna make these things insignificant. We're gonna decurrency these kinds of statements and provide air cover. I agree with you. I think they chose the wrong one to die on the hill of. But we, as a society, as much as you want to strip DEI and wokeism and CRT, it's not going to work.
Well, look,
we're all still here.
I think that this is happening in the context of a lot of other things in this government. And part of the point that I'm trying to bring to the table is that this is the same government that is saying at the Department of Defense, we're going to stop acknowledging Black History Month. We're going to go into DOD schools and address what they are learning there. This is from Jamie Raskin. He says he received this memo from constituents abroad on a U.S. military base who are parents in the DOD school system. They are outraged at censorship like this is happening against military families. One asked a school official why they removed photos on the wall of Susan B. Anthony and Dr. King, but not Leonardo da Vinci, and was told, quote, he was a real historical figure. This is also happening in the same government. So I don't know, how are we supposed to interpret this with our eyes and our ears?
Well, I'm not familiar with that and what's going on. Obviously, I would believe that it's wrong. It should not be happening in our government, and I would love to know more about what happened. We're talking here, we're talking about two different things. If it's about DEI and qualifications for jobs versus giving somebody a second chance, that's what the difference here.
Those are not different things, okay? Because if we talk about qualifications for a job, and you're also telling me that you are willing to hire somebody who...
Why do these guys still try to maintain like any sort of aesthetic grounds that they care about any of this? Like the very fact that this current conversation, when you actually dive in, the very fact that this current conversation that they're having on CNN right now is about the hiring, firing, and rehiring of a government employee that was outed as having openly racist tweets, where the vice president, who is married to an Indian woman that the dude was being racist to, actively, after getting bullied by racist neo-Nazi accounts on Twitter, turned around and said, yeah, actually, we should rehire this guy who thinks my children and my wife are inferior. It's interesting to me that there are even still Republicans that they send out to these, to these conversations to try and like defend this otherwise indefensible position. Who is this for? I think the people that like this sort of thing, they like it. They know exactly what it is. They like it precisely because it is a complete domination by overt racists.
Who is a self-described racist, then how is that person qualified for a job serving the American people in the government?
Look,
what explains the vice president? Here's what I didn't understand. I mean, he was so emotional about this and such an outburst. I'm not saying that he's not condemning the racism. He did, but why can't he just say, yes, the person should apologize before being reconsidered? What is the hesitancy for him to say it? Is it political, that he doesn't want to offend a base? What is it that he can't say that?
Well, I came on here, I'd not seen your back and forth, I'll be honest with you.
Okay,
but I can't speak. Look, I can't speak for the vice president, but I do know that he condemned the remarks from the outset.
But do you think he should, at the very least, say that before someone is hired, he should?
I'm not going to tell the vice president what he should or should not
say.
So
you're not.
I agree that I think the guy should at least acknowledge what he said was wrong.
And if he doesn't do that publicly, do you think he should be fired? The guy, if he doesn't acknowledge that.
Yes, I'm very clear. I think he needs to acknowledge that he should not be hired back.
And do you think it would be a big mistake in terms of the signal that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are sending?
No, I'm not getting into the signals and stuff. I'm telling you what I think should happen.
You're like, signals. No. Again, we are saying that we are here to protect racists and white supremacists and the manosphere. That's what we're here to protect.
What signal do you think it sends?
Elon's Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) team has secured administrator-level email accounts within the Department of Education, just as President Donald Trump announced that Musk would soon begin scrutinizing the agency. The rapid placement of Elon's aides across several government agencies has sparked alarm among federal officials, lawmakers, and watchdog groups, who fear that the team may be accessing sensitive information and conducting a purge of government employees. At a White House press briefing on Friday, NBC News pressed Trump on allegations that Musk and DOGE's extensive staff cuts might be unlawful. In response, Trump defended the strategy, emphasizing that the education department was one of Elon's primary target. He will be looking at education pretty quickly, he said. NBC News confirms that 22-year-old team members Akash Boba and Ethan Chautran have been granted administrator-level access to the department's email system, potentially exposing them to sensitive data. In addition, two current department sources reported that Chautran had access to the backend of the ed.gov website on Friday. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.